All right, everybody's ready, so we'll call this meeting to order. You'll recognize me as not Mayor Boot. Mayor Boot is in Vancouver tonight, Climate Solutions Council meeting, and so I get this honor to do her job. We'll call the meeting to order and read this preamble so that folks understand how they can participate in our meeting this evening. The meeting is being recorded live and is streaming. All representations to council, written or verbal, will form part of the public record and be available to the public for viewing electronically or as a written record. Members of the public may access the meeting by participate in the following ways. 1. Attend council chambers in person. Individuals who wish to attend council chamber in person may do so by registering in advance of the meeting by contacting the corporate officer at corporateofficer@summerland.ca to ensure there's enough space in council chambers. 2. You can watch the meeting live or recorded. Individuals who wish to watch the meeting may view it on the District of Summerland YouTube channel, live or recorded. You can register in advance to speak during the meeting. Members of the public who wish to provide comment during the public comment opportunities found under items 8 and 15 are asked to register in advance by contacting the corporate officer at summerland.ca with the following information: your name, civic address, and method of participation, be in person, telephone, or via Zoom. Further details will be provided upon registration. Request to speak during a meeting. Those who have not registered in advance but wish to speak during the public comment opportunity may be given the opportunity, time permitting. After the mayor has provided everyone who has pre-registered with the opportunity to comment, the floor will be open to those in council chamber and those on the conference line. The conference line can be accessed by dialing 778-907-2071 and entering meeting ID 506-489-9374, passcode 485186. With that, we'll ask the corporate officer if there's any late items tonight.
Thank you, Chair Carlson. There will be one late item under Section 11, and it will be the resolution brought forward from the Committee of the Whole at the March 28th, 2020 Committee of the Whole meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll add that to our agenda and ask Council to approve the agenda, please, and adopt it. Councillor Van Elfen and Councillor Holmes, all in favor? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. And we have minutes from March 14th, 2022, regular evening council meeting. Councillor Van Elfen, Councillor Patton, anything in there that needs to be changed? No. All in favor? That's carried unanimously. No bylaws from public hearing tonight because there was no public hearing. 6 is the mayor's report. I don't have a report, and I believe the mayor was going to put something in the correspondence. I didn't check if that was done yet today. CAO, I will pass it to you for your report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm glad to report that since the recent regulatory structure was finalized by Council for short-term rentals, we have already seen our first few short-term rental business license applications come forward. We are encouraging short-term rental operators to get licensed before the enforcement starts after Labor Day. Application forms and guides are available at summerland.ca or at Municipal Hall if you come to the counter. Some good news. Some of our approvals have come through for the Eneas Creek work, including the Centennial Trail work that's going to occur along Peach Orchard Road. Among other things, these provincial approvals will finally allow us to remediate the public trail and restore bank stability by regrading the bank slope, installing riprap, removing dangerous trees and large woody debris, along with riparian planting. All work will be conducted with guidance from a qualified environmental professional. Memorial Park Playground will be closed starting Tuesday, March 29th, as construction will be starting on the new playground project. Access to the outdoor fitness equipment, band shell, washrooms, and open space at the park will still be available. Due to a miscommunication from one of our contractors for the project, they came a few days early. We have apologized to residents on Facebook for any inconvenience this brief interruption to the access to the playground caused users. We're preparing to replace pressure reducing valve number 14 on Harris Road. On Thursday, March 31st, Harris Road will be closed, the road will be excavated, and the pipe work will be installed. We hope to then backfill the road so it can be used again until April 7th, at which time the valve itself will be replaced. On April 7th, the road will be closed again, and about 176 properties will have no water service from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. between Front Bench Road and Giants Head Road. That day, while we replace the PRV, addresses within the impacted area will be sent notices so they can prepare to meet their water needs during that day. Finally, I wanted Council to be aware that in line with the direction from the province, on April 8th, we'll be transitioning from COVID safety plans for each of our facilities to the standard communicable disease plan for each of our operations. We will remain vigilant for staff health and safety and to those whom we serve. The communicable disease plan is posted on the website, and we'll describe our efforts in that regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Graham. Council, any questions? Yes, Councillor Barkle.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Councillor Carlson. A lot of people, some people in the community are very passionate about saving the bears. And it's always a problem when they come out of hibernation and people have their garbage out the night before and they're not supposed to put it out there until the morning. And some people don't care, and some people are very passionate about caring. And there's lots of problems. I guess we've heard them all before. Is it possible that our bylaw officer could go around in a few evenings and just put some, yellow warning stickers on people's garbage cans that are out the night before, and let just raise awareness at least as a start, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
CAO.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, from time to time we do have enforcement activity. One of the reasons why I know that is when I first moved to Summerland and I was unaware of the bear challenges in the wildlife interface, I received a notice from the district about my garbage being left out. So we often will send letters as a preemptive kind of strike to areas that have historically been a problem. But I will follow up with the landfill and also bylaw enforcement to see what plans we have for this year, given the issues that you've identified. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Barkle, then Councillor Traynor.
Yeah, thank you for that. I wasn't aware that they'd done some warnings last year, because I know that there's some people hit with $325 fines and they hadn't received any warnings, but so they were kind of upset. But that's the way it is. They were in areas where it's known problems.
Graham, can you just remind us it's 7 a.m., right? That garbage can't be out before 7 a.m. Is that correct?
I'd have to double check. I know garbage service begins at 7 a.m. and I think maybe it's 5 a.m. It can't be out before, but I'd have to double check that. Certainly it's those early morning hours where people are to place their garbage out and not the night before.
Anyone else? No? All right. Then we will move on to number 8, which is a public comment opportunity. Kendra, do we have anyone that'd like to speak to us tonight? No. Okay. We will move on then to number 9, development reports. I will pass over the microphone to Joanne to speak about development permit for 13208 and 13210 Kelly Avenue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the district received a downtown development permit application for 13208 and 13210 Kelly Avenue with a request to vary the minimum number of required parking spaces. So the downtown development permit area has its own guidelines that focus on form, function, and sustainability, all with the purpose of ensuring quality development in the town. The subject properties here are designated downtown commercial in the OCP and are zoned CB1 Central Business District. The CB1 zone allows for a range of uses, including mixed-use buildings, where residences are encouraged above ground level commercial. So this proposal in front of you today is to consider the form and character of this mixed-use building, as well as the parking reduction request. So the requested variance would reduce the required number of vehicle parking stalls on site from the required 6 spaces to 3 spaces. And the mixed-use building shown here includes 412 square meters of ground floor commercial space and 6 residential units above. As you can see on the site plan, most of the lot is covered by the proposed building, with the building at the property line along Kelly Avenue and along both side property lines. There's an existing lot line dividing the 2 parcels, which is not shown on the site plan, and the 2 lots would require consolidation to form 1 legal parcel to facilitate the development. Looking a bit closer at the rear of the property, I'll just point out that there is secured bicycle parking in the back, 13 Class A bicycle parking spaces within the bike enclosure. There's the 3 vehicle parking spaces, one of them being an EV charging stall, and adequate area for garbage and recycling bins at the back. In terms of design, from the lane, the rear of the property features decorative brick pavers in the parking area, and it also features dedicated walkways to the building entrances at the back. So there's both a residential and a commercial entrance at the lane. For the front and rear elevations, you can see that there is equal attention being paid to both the elevations along Kelly Avenue as well as the lane. And there are balconies on both the lane and Kelly Avenue that not only provide the residents of this development with outdoor space, but also helps with a sense of vibrancy and security by having eyes on the street. And the windows also provide a bit of massing variation. And just a note, along fronting Kelly Avenue, the balconies are inset within the building, so they are not over the sidewalk, and that varies the building frontage. For the side elevations, the firewalls have been treated with the same brick veneer finish to complement the rest of the building. And just in terms of the building layout, as I said, the first floor is commercial space, and there are 2 entrances for commercial off of Kelly, and then 1 residential entrance off of Kelly, and 1 residential and 1 commercial entrance off of the rear of the building. In terms of the second floor, this is, there are 6 units with a common hallway entrance, and this is where the living, kitchen, and balconies are located. And these are 2-level units. So the top floor is the bedroom and bathroom. So in terms of the variance request, so this building is in compliance with the CB1 zone with the exception of the parking. So the parking for residential units in the CB1 zone is a requirement of 1 parking space per unit. And this application is requesting a reduction to 0.5 per dwelling unit. So that is 3 spaces in total. And under the zoning bylaw, cash in lieu is allowed for commercial parking, and the applicant will be providing cash in lieu for to meet the parking requirements for the commercial space. So in reviewing the variance request, just thinking within the context of housing, the location and alternative options. For housing, the parking variance would allow for more rental units to be built within the downtown. It provides a housing option where residents aren't potentially paying for parking that they don't want or need. And for site location, it is an ideal site for active transportation. So not only is this a location within walking distance to all the services and shops and amenities that downtown has to offer, it also aligns with future plans for bike lanes that would connect to the KVR. But in the meantime, there is ample and convenient bicycle parking being provided as part of this application. And there's also opportunities for off-site parking elsewhere within the downtown. This application was reviewed by the Advisory Planning Commission, and the APC was generally supportive. There was lots of discussion, questions, and suggestions as part of the meeting, and most of the discussion was based around specific design elements. So after that discussion, the APC supported the proposal under 2 conditions, and that being recessing the entrances and distinguishing the retail space from the residential. So in response to those APC comments, the applicant revised their plan. So on the left shows the plan that the APC reviewed, and then the right shows the plan that's in front of council today. And you can compare those 2 designs and see that the doorways are now recessed on Kelly. And the applicant added a decorative band and additional lighting to help articulate the commercial space. In summary, this proposal is seen to meet the design guidelines of the downtown and to be a positive contribution to its vibrancy. So for that reason, staff is recommending to council to issue the development permit, which includes the parking variance, with the condition of lot consolidation. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Council, questions? Councillor Trainer.
So I'm just wondering, there are 6 units in this. So say 3 people buy a parking stall, so 3 units get a parking stall. What about the other 3? Like, what happens if somebody buys one and they have a vehicle? What would they do? Would they just park on the road then?
Yeah, so through the chair, yes, they would have to find off-site parking elsewhere. So there are district-owned lots that provide for overnight parking on Victoria. It's possible that these people might not have a car. So that would be another option. So these are rental units. So the plan is for them to be rented out and have one building manager. So as part of the selection process for appropriate tenants, probably their parking needs would factor into that.
Just to quickly follow up, but they still could park on the road then, right? Like if the 3 spots were taken and the other 3 people wanted spots for their apartments, they could theoretically park on the street. That's allowed?
That is correct, as long as they're working within the timeframes for parking, depending on where they are in the downtown.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? If there's no more questions, I'll ask someone to bring forward a motion, please. Councillor Van Alphen. He was a keener. You go ahead.
I don't know about Keener, but that downtown development permit number DP 21-021 for the construction of a mixed-use building to be constructed at 13208 and 13210 Cali Avenue, legally described as Lot 14, District Lot 3640, Soyuz Division Yale District Plan 905, and Lot 15, District Lot 3640, Soyuz Division Yale District Plan 905 be approved subject to lot consolidation with the following variance to zoning bylaw number 2000-450 to reduce the minimum number of off-street vehicle parking spaces for housing dwelling units in the CB1 zone from 1 per dwelling unit to 0.5 per dwelling unit.
Thank you. You got it all right. And a seconder, please. Councillor Holmes. Any more comments or discussion, Council? Yes, Councillor Van Alphen.
Just a comment, exciting news for the downtown core. I'd love to see more of it, and especially with 6 rental units above. What a great addition, and it's sure a nice start for some serious upgrades on Cali Avenue. I'm sure this is just one of many to come, I hope. Thank you.
Thank you. I think most people would echo that sentiment. Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do have one question for our Director of Development Services. When the lot across the street here from City Hall went to get approvals and construction had started, and then at the 11th hour and 59 minutes, the owner was informed that they had to do some massive water upgrades. Has the owners of this property, has it come to light in regards to what off-site upgrades are going to be required for them to move forward? Thank you.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Padden, thank you for the question. Yeah, with our new processes we have in place through the use of our technical planning committee internally, as well as the pre-application process, I believe we went through with this one before they even applied for this form character development permit. We provided them comments up front as to what would be the off-site requirements for their application, including fire sprinkling of the building, which was something that was a bit caught off guard with that one you were referencing before. This development is a bit different than the one on Henry Ave in that Kelly Avenue has enough water supply through the existing main on Kelly as opposed to Henry Avenue. So there was no requirement for a water main upgrade for the building for the service connection. But, and also I want to also mention as well, we negotiated with the owner to actually take cash in lieu of actually constructing any off-site improvements because we are expecting potential improvements to Kelly Avenue in relation to our downtown plan. So we didn't want him to go ahead with constructing anything if the standard may change with a bicycle lane perhaps down the road. So that's what's already been agreed to by the developer.
Thank you very much. It's nice to see a little bit of proactiveness there so we're not caught off guard again with a development that can't move forward. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? No, I will, there's a motion on the table, so I will call the question then. All in favor? And that carries unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Okay, 9.2, February 2022 Development Services Report. Our Director of Development Services, I'll let you carry that one.
Great. So again, before council, just to do a monthly report on activities for the Development Services Department for the month of February. For planning and development applications, if you council remembers in January, we didn't have too many planning and development applications, but February saw definitely an uptick of applications in comparison to other more recent years. We had a total of 10 new planning and development applications submitted in February. This compares to 7 for the same month in 2021. However, I do want to note that we only received 1 development variance permit, which is a good sign. We're getting more substantial type of planning and development applications with either rezonings or subdivisions. And as the changes perhaps through our zoning bylaw are reducing the number of variances coming forward, which is a good sign. For building permits, total construction value now is up to 8.779 million. This continues the strong pace of construction activity we've experienced in January and continuing into February. We're currently over double our average of construction value over the previous 4 years in terms of on average over the 2 same month span of January and February. So we're off to a flying head start here with an amount of construction value and activity happening within the district. Total enforcement, bylaw enforcement activity. Here's just our year-to-year comparison. We're still early in the year, so the numbers aren't that high. They probably can't see that on the screen. I apologize. I'll just maybe, you can zoom in for the month of February here. We had a total of 37 new bylaw enforcement complaints submitted. Most of these related to the traffic bylaw and good neighbor bylaw. And as well, enforcement team has been fairly proactive with some historical long-term files that have been I think a bylaw enforcement area of concern in the last few months, such as multiple dwellings on ALR land, home occupation on ALR land, and also some build without permits files that are kind of historical ones. So, and those I'm happy to report are actively being pursued by those people. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, questions? All right, a motion to receive this information, I believe, is what we need. Yes, Councillor Patton. That's probably good enough, eh? And a seconder, Councillor Van Alphen. I thought you were going to read something, but I guess not. Any more questions or comments? No, that's okay. Anyone else need to speak to this? No, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, business arising from committee of the whole. We had a rather long conversation this morning and again this afternoon about the tax shift. So I will pass it over to Corporate Officer Kendra, if you could bring forward that motion that we passed earlier, please.
Great, thank you, Chair Carlson. So the Committee of the Whole recommended to Council that staff be directed to shift property taxes as presented in option 6 of the Director of Finance's 2022 tax rates and tax multiples report dated March 28th, 2022, and that staff be directed to prepare the 2022 annual property tax rates bylaw accordingly. So we're just looking for a resolution from Council to support this motion.
Council, questions or no? Councillor Patton, you're up to date?
Yes, I spoke with
Okay.
Councillor Van Alphen at length today.
All right, so motion then, I believe we're just Councillor Holmes, that was your hand up. Okay, thank you very much. And Councillor Van Alphen, anything else anyone wants to say? All right, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. That was a lot of work done by our Director of Finance, and I believe Emma was helping him through that process. So thank you to them for making all of that effort to make sure that we did have a very thorough conversation. Do we have any notice of motion this evening? No? All right. Correspondence items. There's a list A to I. That's quite a long list. Does anyone want to bring anything out from there to discuss? Again, no, you guys, it's going to be a record. Ready? Committee commission minutes do not exist. Councillor reports. Does anyone have anything to report tonight? All right, Councillor Van Alphen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just proud to report that the U13 young people that went down to represent Summerland at the provincials hockey in Mission came back with hardware. They brought back the bronze medal. So congratulations to them, their parents, their coaches, and all of those people that, helped them through that. And we were fortunate enough here last week to host the U18 provincials. Unfortunately, our team didn't do as well as we hoped, but they were incredible sportsmen and sports people. And thank you to all the volunteers that made it happen. There was some really good crowds there and some good hockey. And I want to thank Councillor Holmes and Madam Mayor for being there for the opening ceremonies. It was really well done. And yeah, hats off to the volunteers. It takes a lot of people to make something like that happen. And it was a good show. Anyways, oh, and by the way, our planner, your son came home with a bronze medal. Congratulations. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, I was going to mention just a few things, including the U18 provincials that were held here. I think the Minor Hockey Association did a great job, and I'd like to congratulate them. It was some really good hockey. The game I stayed and watched with Councillor Van Alphen and Mayor Boot was an excellent game. It was really good quality hockey, and it kind of brought back a lot of memories for me when my days as a hockey dad. And in fact, a lot of the hockey parents who were there asked me if I'd missed being there, and it took me about 2.5 seconds to think about it before I was able to respond. March 19th, I attended the Arts Council AGM, And so they have a few new board members. So it's great to see different people stepping up and mixing. There was a bit of discussion about, which I've heard from a lot of nonprofits, about not getting the gaming grants or the amount of gaming grants that they're used to. And there's a number of factors, all relating to COVID, of why that's happening. So hopefully, as we see COVID behind us, those gaming grants will be ramped back up, and a lot of nonprofits will be able to get back up to speed to where they were pre-pandemic. And I also wanted to say on March 22nd, it was World Water Day, and I attended over Zoom the Silixa Water Forum, which they have every year. And there was a keynote presenters from New Zealand, which was very interesting, representing some Maori Indigenous people there. And they talked about how a river, the Wanganui River, maybe, if I'm probably butchering that name, but has been recognized in New Zealand as being a legal person, having legal rights. And that's really changed how the Indigenous people there are asserting those rights to protect the water. So that was a really interesting presentation, and you can Google that and you'll read all about it. But it's kind of seen, as we talk about adopting UNDRIP and everything like that. That's one of the models that's worth looking at. So that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Holmes. Anyone over here that would like to speak? No? All right. I don't have anything to report tonight either. So if there's no public or media, then I will ask for adjournment. Councillor Van Alphen and Councillor Patton, all in favor?